This is Cannaramic, and we're bringing you cannabis like you've never seen it before.
All right, welcome to Cannaramic, your number one place for all things cannabis related. And a big shout out to SOHH.com, our sponsor, your number one spot for all things hip hop entertainment related. And I'm very excited to say today we have the one and only Fat Sosa. I got to hype you up real quick, Fat Sosa. North Carolina, a native. Lot of big things to go with you, man. Featuring Double XL, BET, World Star Hip Hop, collaborations galore. Having worked with a lot of artists from the East Coast, specifically the Beanie Siegels, the Jim Jones, all the way down to the Young Scooters, the 2 Chainz, the Baby. It racks up, man. Of course, you have the self-titled EP dropping later this year. So thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, man. May 31st, actually. We're a couple of days away.
There you go, man, before you know it. So I definitely want to get your take real quick, Sosa, before we really crack into this big discussion of just this whole kind of see cannabis different. How do you view cannabis? There's so many negative notions to cannabis. A lot of people like to say, oh, no, it'll get you hooked on to other things, a lot stronger things. So a lot of negative notions, man. How do you view cannabis?
It's crazy because it's like, I don't get it because, I know, like in the United States where we're from, they're very like strong on pot use. And it's illegal in some states, but I don't get it like in some of the biggest states, like you got Washington, D.C., where the prison is at, is legal. Mm-hmm. California, which is one of the biggest states, like where they shoot movies at in Hollywood, Disneyland is over there, is legal. So I don't get why, like in the regular states, North Carolina, Atlanta, Virginia, which is a common state, state. I just don't get why it's not legal. Like, how can it be legal in some of these states and not legal in all of them? That's just like back in the days, like in the 30s and 60s, they not 60s, but 30s, alcohol was illegal. They was taking people to jail for that back in the Al Capone days. Now look, it's in every restaurant, it's in every bar, it's in basically in every social place you go to, even the nice restaurants like Roof Chris. You go in there, sit down, you get a drink. But back then, you got locked up for that.
Absolutely, and just in general, like viewing the plant by itself, man. This magical plant. How do you actually view cannabis, man? Like in your everyday lifestyle, just with your family. How do you view cannabis?
Personally, I can't live with that. I think it's a wonderful thing, actually. But a lot of people that are around me, they don't like it. But I feel like I don't see nothing wrong with it, actually. Like, that's how I get into my zone, though, when I do my music, when I record. Like, it makes me feel better. Like, I can have a headache. Cannabis makes me feel better.
Absolutely, yeah, because a lot of people say, with the creativity, with anxiety, with stress, it is a really great solutions versus, a lot of athletes, to take care of the pain, they go with the opioids, and yet cannabis is, this big evil thing. You'll get suspended, you'll miss games, you'll miss income, but then again, you get addicted to opioids,
And even get fired. Like, that's another thing I don't get as well, is like, the doctors prescribe it. Like, they prescribe it.
So I want to take you way back in time, man. I want to ask you, what was it like growing up as an African-American male, specifically in North Carolina, man, around the time of, or with drugs in the area per se? I guess, what are some of the ways drugs, in particular cannabis, really impacted your community, especially growing up a lot younger?
Well, like, to be totally honest with you, like, the police down here in North Carolina, they're like in New York or California, like, they're like NYPD. LAPD, like, so any little thing they jumping down your throat over, and no matter what it is. But for me, I actually didn't start smoking until like 3 years ago, actually. But all my friends around me, they smoke. So I really, I say about when we got in high school, my friends that started smoking like around high school, like 9th grade, maybe 8th grade on up. But I wasn't smoking back then, but they definitely were. They were smoking that bullshit though. I can't even front that men. That's when that men was heavy. They were smoking that bullshit.
Now, I guess, what was kind of growing up, and like you mentioned, not so about 3 years ago, you really started to, indulge in the benefits of cannabis, man. But I'm just kind of curious, with friends and family, kind of what was that like? Was there a lot of, incidents, like maybe a friend had a legal run-in? Was there any incidents like that, or was it just kind of like, not really?
The crazy thing is, back then, never really had no run-ins with the police over no cannabis till like really like last year. Like, basically, I guess when they pulled us over, they were like, they smelled marijuana in the car, which we wasn't even smoking then, but still they searched, like they went down our neck about it. Like, had us sitting on the side of the road for like 4 hours. They like, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah, I smoked earlier, but it's nothing in the car. Like, you can search the car. So after you done search the car, they still got us sitting out on the side of the highway, bro, like literally for 3 hours. And I had think about it, I had 2 of my buddies with me from California. Mm-hmm. So in their mind, they like, he got a scale in his bag. He not knowing we in North Carolina, so it's like way different from over there. So he tell the cop, like, you gonna take my scale? And I'm looking at him like, you tripping. Especially down here. Yeah. Like, you tripping. The cop like, yeah, I'm gonna take your scale. I can't take you to jail for this. But they not understanding, like, I'm sitting there like, I'm quiet, like, kind of nervous, ain't trying to say too much. But he going, like, in a rage because where he's from, it's legal. You can ride around in California with up to, like, 3-4 bags over there, and there's no problem. Over here, you go to jail for an 8th.
Absolutely, and that kind of brings me to the next topic. There's a lot of info I got to hit you with real quick, so kind of bear with me, try to absorb it, and then we'll just get into the Q&A aspect. But, you know, data shows that even despite the massive shift in public opinion in relation to cannabis, you know, surveys showing that more than 65% of the American population now support legalization. A lot of people are still being arrested for pot-related offenses, especially with minorities, you know, Latins, Blacks especially. And it's interesting because according to the ACLU, cannabis consumption levels are pretty similar amongst, you know, Black and white people. However, it's Black folks that are almost 4 times more likely than white people to get arrested for possession. So, of course, you know, you've experienced your own run-in with law enforcement. Do you feel race and celebrity play a role?
And you know why? Of course. And why? Because this is how the police do these days, like when they're targeting African Americans, like when they're and let's say they're like in the neighborhoods or in the areas where it's more African Americans, the first thing they do and they use over here in North Carolina, not for sure about anything else, but they'll say they smell weed even if they don't. And that's probable cause over in North Carolina, which gives them a right to search your car and you. So say, for instance, if you did, like, even if you got a gun and it's legal, if it's sitting to where they can't see it, it's called carrying a concealed weapon. You can get locked up for that. Even if you're not a felon, like, the gun has to be out. So what they'll do, they'll pull up to the car, oh, license registration. Matter of fact, they'll hold off on that, like, oh, I smell marijuana, step out the car.
Wow.
That's their tactics over here. I smell marijuana, and it's probable cause to search over here. Anywhere, I believe. Like in any state in the United States, I believe it's probable cause once you smell marijuana, but that's what they use off the rip. Like, that's their favorite go-to right there. Oh, we smell marijuana, step out the car. Then it goes downhill from there.
No, I got you. And let me just kind of add on to this, and you've already hinted at it, but I'm just curious, you know, why, in your personal opinion, do you feel that Blacks and Latins are just more susceptible or, you know, getting targeted a lot more than, let's just say, white folks typically?
I mean, it's been going on for years. Like, at this point, it's just done got so normal, it's just racial profiling. It's like, it's designed that way. Like, it might be some cops down here that might know a certain person that they just don't like. Because it's definitely white people, Chinese, they smoke. Regardless of what the statistics say, everybody probably smokes. Like, you might find a white person that might smoke more than a Black person. You might find a Hispanic person that might smoke more than both of them. It's hard to tell. There's so many people in the world. But it's been going on for years. It would be hard for me to put something on that's just racial profiling at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
If you ask me.
And let me just ask you a little fast, so, you know, have you actually, you know, caught a charge off of possession, or if not you, you know, someone that you know, and kind of what was it?
Yeah, the police, they pulled me over maybe 7 months ago and accused me of having some marijuana, like a bag, like a small bag. And it was racial profiling because I wasn't even smoking in the car. They pulled us over off the highway. Oh, that's why he said he pulled us over, which was cap. He was like, the lights was off. It's 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Why my lights need to be on? Like, basically, like, the sun was dumbing down, but it wasn't time for no lights to be on, no headlights to be on no car. So when they pulled me over, we smelled marijuana. They found marijuana. They took me to jail for it.
And it's crazy too, because, you know, I'm just thinking, like, unfortunately, that's just like one of the typical headlines you'll see on TMZ, right? Lil Wayne tour bus pulled over, T.I. tour bus pulled over because, and the cops always say, oh, well, yeah, they smelled marijuana from 13 miles away, or, just something kind of crazy, man. And it's just so crazy that, okay, you could say on the celebrity aspect, but I mean, it really, celebrity or not, the bottom line is so many Blacks, I say Latins, but really just Black folks are just being so targeted, and it's unfortunate you got to lean towards racial profiling as a motivation.
It's sick, bro. Like, I don't even know, like, as far as everybody, like, coming together, and they don't care, man. Like, it just makes you want to move to a place that's legalized. Like, I love LA, actually. I've been over there a few times, stayed over there for a couple of months. I love LA, not just because it legalized weed, but because they still gonna fuck with you over there for something else.
Yeah.
But just over here is sick, but they act like weed is heroin over down here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that very soon. But, I really want to narrow in a little bit deeper into the ripple effect. And what I mean by that is, we've talked about these incidents that happen, and, maybe you get arrested, maybe they give you a pass if that ever happens. But I want to just talk more specifically, the immediate aftermath of being arrested, either yourself or someone that or a family member or so on and so on. Just kind of what is that immediate impact on not only that person, but especially the family? Because a lot of times the male figure is the breadwinner, right? They're kind of, paying the bills, they're looking out for the family. And I really want to kind of get your take on that whole situation with the male figure typically being the one that finds themselves in these legal situations.
So what, excuse me, like what, like, question you asking me again, like?
Just the immediate impact, man. I just kind of want to get your take on, like I said, this whole ripple effect of, once typically the male is arrested, what impact that has on the family, the mother, the father, the daughters.
That's basically like, if you got that person and he the breadwinner, he paying the bills, he paying the lights, he paying the water, and he get locked up for something he really don't have no choice but to make his living off of, and he get locked up. That's going to affect everything. Not only he got to bond out, he got to get an attorney. That's more money to the system. Then he got to fight the case. He might got to do time. If not, he go on probation. He got to pay a monthly payment of that. You fuck up, you get locked back up, got to bond out, and you got another case. It's just a sign. So it's just all the way for, like, they put it where you gonna fuck up regardless. Like, if you ain't a person that just cool and laid back, if you still out here trying to grind after you get jammed up the first time, they gonna stick it to your ass again. If he the breadwinner, what everybody else supposed to do anyway? Like, if he get taken away.
Exactly. And what's so crazy about that is, because what I typically see is, there's been a plea deal, and typically it's probation. And you think, oh, well, he got probation. It's only 3 years. But what's so crazy is the most pettiest thing, right, while you're on probation can completely derail your career.
Speeding ticket, jaywalking, seatbelt.
Yeah.
Anything that violates, that's like a misdemeanor or a felony, that violates your probation and suspended sentence, whatever that may be. Might be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 30 days. But your ass is going away.
Yeah, and being an entertainer and, having such a budding career, man. I mean, so many dope collaborations, so much dope music, the World Star Hip Hop videos and all that. I mean, how much paranoia does that kind of give you in the sense of, the fact that, man, I got so much going on right now that just one little petty thing could completely, I mean, you can't make music when you're behind bars. There's so many things that are taken away from you. You can't be with your family. Just, in your position, man, kind of what is that like?
It's scary, but, like, I feel like people, like, it's scary, but you make your bed, you sleep in it. Like, it's ways you got to move to as well. If the cops is harassing and they on your ass like that, then don't smoke in the car. Don't care, you know what I'm saying? Do it in your house when you know what I mean, where nobody can't bother you at all. If you in the studio where they allow that, but like being out and about with it, and I'm gonna always be paranoid because ain't no telling, bro.
No, absolutely.
Ain't nowhere where they legalize it at, and you playing games, don't stick it to your ass.
You know what's so crazy too, man? It's just like from state to state. Like you almost gotta know the dang on law, man. Because I mean, one state it's cool. You're in Colorado. You're in Seattle, Washington, where it's very friendly. Then you just cross that border. It's a completely different story.
Just like Virginia, one of my close buddies. It's a common state law. Mm-hmm. He got locked up for a zip of weed. Do you know how much he had to pay his attorney? $10,000, and he stayed in jail on bond for like 48 days for a zip of marijuana, bro.
And just on that particular incident, man, like I'm just kind of curious. I don't know how close the relationship is, but what type of immediate impact did that have? Because like you said, $10,000, man, people don't always have that sitting in the bank. You know, you got bills, you got family, you got mortgages, all those types of things, man. It just seems like it's a very systematic takedown.
It learned me two things: not to do any crimes in Virginia.
Okay.
And number two, not to smoke weed going through Virginia or smoke weed anywhere in Virginia, because it's a common state law. So they can say you can get pulled over, you can be going 90, go to jail, and the judge can make up a law right then and give you 5 years in jail for that. They make up their laws as they want to, as they feel. And hell no, I ain't trying to be in no state like that.
Absolutely, man. I really want to focus real quick with you, so on this idea of expunging criminal records, man. This is the big thing where certain states, you know, some of the backlash to wanting to legalize cannabis is that a lot of criminal records are going to kind of, you know, get that Thanos treatment. It's just going to disappear. Some people fear legalization will push for criminal records to be expunged. So I want to really ask you, so what type of opportunities are taken away from having a cannabis arrest on your record, man? Just, you know, being a musician and having this like kind of attached to your name. I know if you just fill out, you know, some surveys, normally they're like, have you been arrested on anything? And something as small as a little cannabis possession, can it derail opportunities, especially for yourself being an entertainer?
Yes, of course. Actually, like, especially depends on how much it is, of course. Like, sometimes it can be dismissed. Depends on how much it is. So it really depends. Me personally, bro, that's really like, I feel like it should be expunged. Any charge, like, I feel like if a person like has got a felony, maybe 10 years ago, and they've been on a straight road, working a 9 to 5, or even 5 years, I feel like anything should be expunged. You know, of course, that's ain't got to do with hurting anybody, or, you know, if it's just somebody got locked up for something, no matter what it was, and they were just trying to make some money off of it, not trying to rob anybody, or no, like, hard criminal activities, I feel like it should be expunged anyway. My opinion, though.
Absolutely, man. Keeping it moving, man. Like I said, I got a bunch of topics for you, man. I want to really focus on the federal government aspect, man. Right now, cannabis is listed as a Schedule I drug by the federal government, meaning the drug or other substance has a high potential for abuse. Other drugs listed as a Schedule I drug are heroin, ecstasy, and LSD. So really asking you, so cannabis along, yep.
You mean to tell me that the federal government has weed the #1 over heroin and crack?
It's right on that same level. So really, I mean, you kind of already answered my question. Does cannabis deserve to be listed as such, man?
Hell no. How when they're giving you this to cure certain type of cancers, when it's legal in certain states? Heroin is not legal in no states. Like, no PCP, no meth, no crack cocaine, no powder, none of that is legal. No skirt, no lean, none of that is legal. Like, so how can you put weed on the same pedestal? Or cannabis, as they like to say.
And you know what's so crazy about that too, man? I want to get your take on this. Is there's this whole fear that, oh, once you start doing cannabis, you know, even though, you know, facts show otherwise, right? That once you start that, you're gonna want something stronger. You're gonna want to get into cocaine. You're gonna want to get into heroin. You know, yourself and people that you know, man. Have you seen this turn into a gateway drug?
Personally, bro, I've never seen anybody that I've seen that like even smoke weed and it turned into a hard drug. They was already doing like Percocets, something like that, of that nature. Like, but no, of course, if I want something stronger, then I'm gonna go get a different strain. I might go get me some I might go holler at my bro King Louis. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I want a deeper strain. I'm just gonna go find a deeper strain. I'm not gonna go. It's not even the same thing. Just because you do that, that makes you want to put something up your nose. It doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, man. I also want to focus on this whole illegal to legal topic, man. Estimates are projecting the legal cannabis market will reach over $10 billion in the U.S. over the next few years. So you have states like Nevada and Colorado already seeing millions of new tax revenue from legal cannabis, but legalization has its price in that it will siphon revenue from the illegal market where many people have been making a living for themselves and their families. Basically, how important is it for people like these to have an opportunity to really, see it become legalized and have their own business ventures?
Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe America is in debt, right? If I'm not mistaken. If it's a no-brainer that you see Vegas, California getting all these revenues and you seeing them making more money, you're making more money legalizing weed than locking people up for it. Because half of us getting dismissed. Okay, of course you're getting a little bond money, but how much are you getting off that? A little attorney money. Sometimes people get it dismissed themselves. Depends on the amount of it. So it's like, that's kind of like a no-brainer. That's why you have a lot of states considering making marijuana legal.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about it. That's what they do anyway. Like over here, if they do catch you with say things like 4 pounds over here, 5 pounds, anything like 9 on down, it's a misdemeanor. Anything on up, that's a felony, which is trafficking. It gives you automatic like 3 to 5 years in the state of North Carolina down here. So it's like basically like anything back down. If you get caught with 8 bags, what they do lock you. Okay, whatever, probation, but they make you pay taxes. Like whatever the value of it is, they make you pay the taxes for that.
Okay. And you know what? One thing that I kind of want to go back on, man. You mentioned in the very beginning that you have some maybe fans, or not fans, but family and friends that understand the whole cannabis lifestyle, but aren't very supportive of it. And I kind of want to just narrow in on that. I think we all have family and friends that they view cannabis with this negative notion. And a lot of it comes from propaganda. A lot of it comes from the TMZ headlines, right? Oh, T.I. arrested for marijuana possession or something like that. There's a lot of kind of media influences that can easily make it seem like a negative thing. And I just kind of want to get you to open up a little bit more on, the friends and family that kind of have this negative notion, man.
I mean, it's like, I can point out a couple of things that I might feel like is negative to the things they do, but of course, some things they say like, yeah, but maybe because it's legal, maybe it brings a lot of negative attention that we don't need, which I understand. But hell, sometimes, in the strip club, some things is legal. Can't wear your boobs out. Can't have your ass out in some places. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like everybody have their different, like I don't drink alcohol at all. Never have. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Some people might, and I was raised in a church home. So for my immediate family, that's definitely a no-go. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm just curious, have you had that conversation, or are they even interested in like listening to the medicinal aspects of it, right? The fact that it can help, glaucoma and things like that, with the cataracts and things of that element. Like, are they even willing to kind of hear that out or not really?
My grandmother, she's a preacher. If anything ain't that's just how she was raised. Like, if it ain't anything that's just ungodly, it's a no-go. So I wouldn't even like, if my grandma asked me today that I smoke, if she seen me in a video, I would deny it like it's not me. So we're definitely not having that conversation at all.
And, I do want to ask you, so man, you mentioned it earlier, you haven't been out to the West Coast and just kind of seeing that exposure. We've had the pleasure of talking to Redman and people of that nature, saying that the East Coast is one thing. You go to the West Coast, it is like, I guess, like the Willy Wonka of the cannabis world, right? Where you just like, it's not just traditional, cannabis for recreational uses. I mean, they have, not only vape pens, they have the edibles, they have dispensaries that are just like, hey, come in. There's so much, it seems like a lot more education out there that, they realize this is a great magical benefit.
And give you goodie bags as well.
Okay.
Give you extra free goodie bags on the side. They're phenomenal, trust me. Like,
yeah, just go back to that experience, man. Having grown up in North Carolina and just kind of, in most cases, the smoking aspect of it, and then really getting that dosage, no pun intended, of the West Coast lifestyle, man, and really being like, what was that first experience like? What did you?
Me, like I said before, like me having the knowing and the understanding that it's different from different like coasts, like. It made me realize it more, like I told you earlier, when my buddy we got pulled over and they was from California, and how he reacted when the police took his scale. Like, it's really normal over there. Like it's nothing wrong with it. You see people walking down like over there in the stadium, like the Staples Center. You got a dispensary right there down the street on the next block.
Mm-hmm.
You just going in, it's just different, bro. Like, just looking at that, just seeing how he react, like, he really felt like he was doing nothing wrong, which he wasn't because where he's from. But over here, he had balls of steel. Talking like that.
I tell you, man, Virginia is a scary, beautiful place, but man, if you're in the wrong area, man, there's just a lot of tense.
South Carolina too.
Exactly.
They rough.
You got Myrtle Beach, man, it can get a very dicey.
Oh.
Staying away from Myrtle Beach.
What? I don't go to Myrtle Beach. No more. I got locked up in Myrtle Beach, bro. My brother, he has license to all his guns. He was in the car. They still charged both of us with it and took both of us to jail. And he has his license, his carry concealed, his card, his paper, whatever you want to have that you got to have, he has it. He's went to class for it. They still took me to jail when I was in the backseat asleep.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to talk to you, man, and get your perspective. One or two final things before I let you go. I do want to ask you, man, what would an ideal cannabis-friendly world consist of? Would it be more like how it is on the West Coast for the East Coast? If you could just kind of snap your fingers right now and make the, let's just say the U.S. It doesn't have to be the world, but, the U.S. being cannabis-friendly. How do you envision it, man? How would you, I know it still might be hard for grandma to come around, but for everyone else, man, what would a cannabis-friendly world be like?
You have some people that doesn't have felonies that might be out there handling their business because they still can't, function or do required to be a doctor, a lawyer, or even run a bank, or even run a grocery store. Mm-hmm. Some people out there that still doing that doesn't have a feeling that if that illegal, I think it'll be helping out more states, with being backed up, with the school. I feel like, man, it'd be so much money being made. Why you think these people, just think about it. California, they legalized this. You think they did that for nothing? They knew. They did the numbers. They knew how it was going to increase. Of course, they got some rules, but everything gets rules, you know what I mean? So I feel like it'll take a whole lot of pressure off of the United States for being backed up with all this money, trillions and billions they owe. I think it'll cut it down half, probably, or not even, or maybe even it back out.
Absolutely, man. I'm just curious too, Sosa. I guess as far as cannabis is concerned, are there additional areas that you want to explore, like the edibles, and I know they even have oils, like the CBD treatments and stuff like that, or you just pretty much content with the flower aspect, man, with just being able to...
I'm pretty much content with, it's kind of like hot dog and ketchup.
Okay.
Backwoods and the plant, man. They go hand in hand. Edibles, I ain't really with that. I ain't really with the edibles. I try the pens. They be all right.
Okay.
Pens are more safer, actually. That's kind of taking over a little bit. Everybody's fucking with the pens now. Yeah. You don't really got no smell. But I still don't. I guess it's a mind thing with me. I feel like the oils and the pens, I need to see it. The color, the smell. I really can't really mess with the pens. I ain't a fan of it.
No, absolutely. Yo, Sosa, that was more than enough that we needed from you, man. I cannot thank you enough for coming through. And before we let you go, I want you to name drop everything. I know you got the EP, May 31st, but tell everybody where they can basically stalk you and keep up with everything that you got going on.
Instagram, Fat Sosa, 2 T's on my fat, man. SOSA, that's my Instagram. That's everything, actually. From the Facebook, anything, YouTube, subscribe, Fat Sosa, man. We got my first EP coming out May 31st. I have a second album coming out after that. It's going to be my banger right there, man. I got Gucci Mane on the album. I got Cameron on the album. I have Jim Jones on the album. I have Young Scooter on the album. I have unreleased records I have coming out with 2 Chainz, Waka Flocka. Man, the list goes on. Benny Single. A lot, man.
Yeah, I know everyone's gonna be following all the updates that you give, but is there a particular location they should find the self-titled EP, or you're gonna?
It's gonna be on all major platforms. We actually have a video out right now featuring Moneybag Yo. It's called Dope. Mm-hmm. It's actually on BET Jams right now, Revolt TV, MTV. We're about to release it later on this month at the top of World Star.
Okay.
So we got a lot of good things going on, man.
Yo, I know you're super busy. I can't thank you enough for coming through. Yo, Sosa, thank you so much for your time, man.
Bro, I appreciate you having me, bro. It was a blessing. I had fun. I enjoyed it.